how would we know, and so forth.
Do you think it's possible?
We have no idea. I mean, we don't understand what consciousness is. We don't know how it emerges in the organic brain. So we don't know if there is an essential connection between consciousness and organic biochemistry, so that it can't arise in an inorganic silicon-based computer. There is a big confusion, first of all, should be said again, between consciousness and intelligence. Intelligence is the ability to reach goals and solve problems. Consciousness is the ability to feel things like pain and pleasure and love and hate. Humans and other animals, we solve problems through our feelings. Our feelings are not something on the side. They are a main method for how to deal with the world, how to solve problems. Now, so far, computers, they solve problems in a completely different way than humans. Again, they are alien intelligence. They don't have any feelings. When they win a game of chess, they are not joyful. When they lose a game, they are not sad. They don't feel anything. Now, we don't know how organic brains produce these feelings of pain and pleasure and love and hate. So this is why we don't know whether an inorganic structure based on silicon and not carbon, whether it will be able to generate such things or not. That's, I think, the biggest question in science. And so far we have no answer.
Isn't consciousness just like a hallucination? Isn't it just like an illusion that I think I'm conscious because I've got the circuitry which tells me that I am effectively? It tells me through a bunch of like feelings and things that I'm conscious. Like I think I'm looking at you now. I think I can see you.
No, the feeling is real. I mean, even if we are all, it's like the Matrix, and we are all in.
How do you know it's real?
It's the only real thing in the world. I mean, there is nothing. I mean, everything else is just conjuncture. You know, we only experience our own feelings. What we see, what we smell, what we touch. This we actually experience. This is real. Then we have all these theories about why do I feel pain? Oh, it's because I stepped on a nail and there is such a thing in the world as a nail and whatever. It could be that we are all inside a big computer on the planet Zircon run by super intelligent mice.
If I spoke to an AI, I could get an AI to tell me that it feels pain and sadness.
That's a big problem, because there is a huge incentive to train AIs to pretend to be alive, to pretend to have feelings. And we see that there is a huge effort to produce such AIs. And in truth, because we don't understand consciousness, we don't have any proof, even that other humans have feelings. I feel my own feelings, but I never feel your feelings. I only assume that you're also a conscious being. And society grants a status of a conscious entity to not only to humans, but also to some animals, not based on any scientific proof, but based on social convention. Like most people feel that their dogs are conscious, that their dogs can feel pain and pleasure and love and so forth. So society accepts, most societies, that dogs are sentient beings and they have some rights under the law. Now, as AI, even if AI has no feelings, no consciousness, no sentience whatsoever, but it becomes very good at pretending to have feelings and convincing us that it has feelings, then this will become a social convention, that people will feel that their AI friend is a conscious being and therefore should be granted rights. And there is even already a legal path for how to do it. At least in the United States, you don't need to be a human being in order to be a legal person.
It's funny because you kind of alluded to the fact jokingly that we might just be in like a simulation. It was one of you like, well, maybe we're just in a simulation.
Yeah, but could be.
And it's funny because in a world of AI, I think my belief in that as a possibility has only increased.
Yes.
This is in fact just a simulation, because I've watched us go from when I was born, not really having internet access, to now being able to kind of speak to this alien on my computer that can like now do things for me, and having virtual reality experiences, which are sometimes quite indistinguishable, where my I fall into the trap of believing that I am inside Squid Games because I've got this headset on. And you play it forward and you play it forward and you play it forward and you imagine any rate of improvement. Then I hear the arguments for simulation theory and I go, do you know what, probably if you play this forward 100 years, like at the rate we're on, of the rate of trajectory we're on, then we will be able to create information networks and organisms that don't, in like a laboratory or in a computer, that don't necessarily realize they're in the computer. Especially with like what's going on with
it's already happening to some extent. These information bubbles that more and more people live inside them. It's still not the whole physical world, but you get the same event, and people on, say, different parts of the political spectrum, they just can't agree on anything. They live in their own matrices, and When the internet came along for the first time, the main metaphor was the web, the World Wide Web. A web is something that connects everything. And now the main metaphor, which is this simulation theory, is representing this new metaphor. The new metaphor is the cocoon. It's a web that turns on you and encloses you from all sides, so you can no longer see anything outside.
Yeah.
And there could be other cocoons with other people in there, and you have no way to get to them.
Yeah.
Nothing that happens in the world can connect you anymore because you're in different cocoons.
You've only got to look at someone else's phone. You've only got to look at someone else's Twitter or X or Instagram feed.
Is this the same reality?
It is so different. Do you know what I was talking about over the weekend? My friend was sat to my left scrolling. He clicked on the discovery section, which is where you find new content. I looked down at his phone and was like, it's all Liverpool Football Club. It's like the entire feed is Liverpool and my entire feed is completely different. And I was just thinking, wow, he lives in a completely different world to me. Because he's a Liverpool fan, I'm a Manchester United fan, and it's and to think about that, like to think that when you open your phone, and many of us are spending up to 9 hours a day on our mobile phones, you're experiencing a completely different window into a completely different world than I am.
And this was, this is a very ancient fear, because for instance, Plato wrote exactly about that. In the most famous parable, I think, from Greek philosophy, is the allegory of the cave, in which Plato imagines a theoretical scenario, an imaginary scenario of a group of prisoners chained inside a cave with their face to a blank wall in which shadows are being projected from behind them, and they mistake the shadows for reality. And he was basically describing, people in front of a screen, just mistaking the screen for reality. And you have the same thing in ancient India with Buddhists and Hindu sages talking about Maya, which is the world of illusions. And the deep fear that maybe we are all trapped inside a world of illusions, that the most important thing that we think in the world, the wars we fight wars over illusions in our mind. And this is now becoming technically possible. Like previously, it was these philosophical thought experiments. Now, part of what is interesting as a historian about the present era is that a lot of ancient philosophical problems and discussions are becoming technical issues. That, yes, you can suddenly realize Plato's cave in your phone.
So scary. I find it really scary because you're right. Like, I think right now, some people might say that they have some kind of grasp over like the ranking system or why something shows up when I search it or whatever. But as these intelligence aliens become more and more powerful, it's, of course, we would have less understanding because we're like handing over the decision making.
In some industries, they are now completely the kingmakers. Like, I'm here on a book tour. I wrote Nexus, so I go from podcast to podcast, from TV station to TV station to talk about my book. But the entities I'm really trying to impress are the algorithms.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I can get the attention of the algorithms, the humans will follow.
Yeah. Ooh. Oh, yuck.
That's our reality. We are basically kind of carbon creatures in a silicon world.
I used to think we were in control, though. And now I feel like the silicon's in control.
Control is shifting. We are still in control to some extent. We are still making the most important decisions, but not for long. And this is why we have to be very, very careful about the decision we make in the next few years, because in 10 years, in 20 years, it could be too late. By then, the algorithms will be making the most important decisions.
You talk about a couple of big dangers you see with the algorithms and AI and the sort of shift and disruption of information. One of them is this alignment problem, which how would you explain the alignment problem to me in a way that's simple to understand?
So the classical kind of example is a thought experiment invented by the philosopher Nick Bostrom in 2014, which sounds crazy, but bear with it. He imagines a super intelligent AI computer, which is bought by a paperclip factory. And the paperclip manager tells the AI, your goal, the reason I bought you, your goal, your entire existence, you're here to produce as many paperclips as possible. That's your goal. And then the AI conquers the entire world, kills all humans, and turns the entire planet into factories for producing paperclips. And it even begins to send expeditions to outer space to turn the entire galaxy into just paperclip production industry. And the point of the thought experiment is that the AI did exactly what it was told. It did not rebel against the humans. It did exactly what the boss wanted. But of course, it was not, the strategy it chose was not aligned with the real intentions, with the real interests of the human factory manager, who just couldn't foresee that this will be the result. Now, this sounds like outlandish and ridiculous and crazy, but it already happened to some extent, and we talked about it. This is the whole problem with social media and user engagement. In the very same years that Nick Bostrom came up with this thought experiment in 2014, the managers of Facebook and YouTube, they told their algorithms, your goal is to increase user engagement. And the algorithms of social media, they conquered the world and turned the whole world into user engagement, which was what they were told to do. We are now very, very engaged. And again, they discovered that the way to do it is with outrage and with fear and with conspiracy theories. And this is the alignment problem. When Mark Zuckerberg told the Facebook algorithms increase user engagement, he did not foresee and he did not wish that the result will be collapse of democracies, wave of conspiracy theories and fake news, hatred of minorities. He did not intend it. But this is what the algorithms did, because there was a misalignment between the way that the algorithm, the goal that was defined to the algorithm, and the interests of human society, and even of the human managers of the companies that deployed these algorithms. And this is still a small-scale disaster, because the social media algorithms that created all this social chaos over the last 10 years, they are very, very primitive AI. This is like the amoebas of, if you think about the development of AI as an evolutionary process, for this is still the amoeba stage.
The amoeba being the very simple...
The very simple life forms, the beginning, like a single cell life form. We are still in evolutionary terms, organic evolution, we are like billions